Good morning and welcome to our Tuesday, August 20th Create My Banners webinar. Today, we're having a special webinar on tips for creating a great banner. We spoke to our own professional graphic designers to get their advice on what we should say, what tips they have, since they're the ones who create all the banners for our projects as well as other clients. So, let's get started. The first tip was to keep all the text readable. Use readable and legible fonts. Keep it clear and easygoing. Minimize the amount of text you have on your screen, so that way the text that they do have, they can read. Font color should be a good contrast from the color image behind it. So, for example, if you have a really dark background, if it's black or a darker color, you're not really going to want to use a dark gray text or a dark blue or even dark red because they're going to have to strain to see it and might even miss it. And most people, if they can't see it easily, they're going to avoid it. The font size shouldn't be too small to read, but avoid overlapping other elements. So if you have size like 0.9 font and it's really tiny, people are just going to gaze over it. But if it's really big and it's got too many elements behind it, then it's going to make it really hard to read. Even if it overlaps another element that's about the same color, you're going to have your text cut off. And as soon as your viewers have to strain to read it or work to see it, you've lost them. So you got to keep it simple, easy for them to read, and clear. The next one was use colors appropriate to the message. Each color actually has some corresponding keys that it actually relates to that people generally associate it with. Blue being trustworthy, dependable, committed. It's usually used for businesses and loyalty, and it just creates a more comfortable feel. Brown is a very stable, reliable color. It's usually used for things like natural, things like law, or things that really need to emphasize the reliability on there. Yellow. Everyone likes yellow. It's a bright, optimistic color and can also signify enlightenment. It's usually just a bright, happy color, but it can be overused and make things hard to read on top of it, so you have to use it a little bit strategically. Red, it's very stimulant, it's exciting, energetic, and bold. When you see red, it's instantly strong. So it's a great color to use in advertisements because you want to get people excited about your products. You want to emphasize things to them. And green, it's very natural, refreshing, tranquil. It can represent things like health or things that are natural and even money. So depending on how you want to use it and the shade of green, green can be a great color to use in your ads and it can go well depending on what colors you match it with. The next thing is choosing a good color palette and stick to it. Pick up to 3 colors that work well together and use only the 3 colors. So the reasoning for this, you might think, well, the more colors the better, right? Unfortunately, that's not the case. The more colors you have, the more that they're competing with each other, the more they'll clash, and you might not get the effect you're looking for. Keeping it to a simple 3 colors means that everything's clear, easy to read, and concise. You can use the most contrasting color, usually like an orange or a bright red or yellow, and for buttons or for emphasizing text. If you need help picking out a palette and want colors to work out together, we highly recommend cooler.adobe.com. They're a great site. Let's just click this, and I'll show you guys what I mean. Okay, so you see how these colors all go with the same palette, but if you combine them, it might make things hard to read. So let's try going to complementary. That way it'll get you a wide range of colors. You see how they're on opposite ends of the bar here. So we're going to drag this, say we want a blue color. It's going to recommend orange as a contrasting color. Or if, say, we want like darker blue, it goes to different colors of yellow or red. So you're going to want to pick a color that matches your brand or the feel you're looking for and combine it with a color that complements it really well. You can also drag these in if you want something lighter or darker, and it will find something appropriate as well. The next, as I mentioned, keep it simple. The less elements you have, the better. Banners can contain a picture relative to it, the punchline, a call to action, which could be in the form of a logo or a message, and your logo. The call to action can be a button or a message, and then as well your logo. So try and keep the minimal elements you have. You can't really put long paragraphs and tons of information in an ad. You, People should be able to see your ad, understand your brand, understand what they're looking at within 2 seconds. You have just over a glance for them to actually take a look at it. The less elements in your banner, the more they will stand out. If you have about 20 elements, people don't know where to look and you'll lose a lot of their focus. Keep the animation simple and classy. Flashing and too much movement looks dated and cheap and will annoy customers. As you can see, I got a lot of things swirling and moving and stuff there, and it can be a distraction. So we are going to be including animation later on since it's received a lot of votes in the polls. However, we are going to try and keep the animations simple so that way people get the best experience possible. Build your brand. So you're going to keep your banners consistent. All the banners in the campaign should match. If you look at campaigns by people like Scotiabank or any major bank, Walmart, they all look consistent. They all have their logo, the same kind of color scheme, and even when they run different campaigns, they only change to a certain degree. They're not going to suddenly change their logo or change what they're actually targeting for market. All the banners for a site should maintain a consistent coloring and theme to match your site. So obviously create my banners. Our banners are gonna match our site. We're going to go with the same kind of color scheme to go along with the same feel of the site. We're not suddenly gonna go, hey, neon orange and bright red when our colors are more of a blue and a gray. To further iterate the point, we made this nice slide for you where it's just sort of all over the place. Again, keep it consistent, keep it simple, and continue with your brand. Keep an appropriate landing page. So once people click the link, the page that they land on is considered their landing page. It should result in the same kind of direction that your call to action says. If you're asking people to register, it should land on the registration page or a page telling them exactly what they're going to get by registering. If you want them to request a quote for your services, then you're going to want to say that. Drop them on the request a quote page. Try and keep it with a consistent feel that matches the banner. So if it's for a specific campaign that's targeted, you're going to want it to land on the page for that campaign. Some big don'ts for creating your banners. As mentioned already, don't use too much text. If you can't read it in 2 seconds, it's just too much. No one's going to be able to read it and you're going to lose people's attention. Avoid using blurry or low resolution images. If they're small and pixelated, they're going to detract from the banner and they're actually going to make your brand look a little bit cheaper and less professional. Don't use more than 3 colors because you do lose the effect and contrast of the colors if you're using more than 3 colors on a small amount of space. And that concludes our tips for creating the banners. So later on today on our social media pages, we are going to be posting this little info page so that way you can have a little reminder that you can reference. And let's go to create my banners. And I'm going to answer some questions. What's the social media page? Well, we have a lot of different social media. We have Facebook, Twitter, and Google. The links are all in the bottom. So for example, here's our Facebook page. We worked really hard on it, and later on we will be posting that image that I showed you. Feel free to like it. It's a great page to stay on because we are constantly posting updates. When we upload new images, we post it so that way you guys know to check them out. And any kind of messages saying this is going to be happening, and we give you a little bit of heads up. Are these webinars recorded? Yes. We record all of our webinars and post them on our page. So if you go to webinars at any time, you don't even have to be logged in, then you can see our webinar schedule, so the next webinar that's going to be happening, and a link to get in there, as well as the videos for our last recordings. So you can see all the webinars we've had to date and follow along with any questions we answered or things we discussed. They're usually available within about 6 to 7 hours of the actual recording. Okay, if no one has any other questions, I'm going to end it there. If you think of a question later on or are looking for some more tips about your banner or even want some input, all you have to do is go to Contact Us, fill out the form, and we will usually contact you within the next 24 hours. Thank you, everyone, and have a good day.